It's the natural energy force of the universe, just like the energy that keeps the stellar bodies of the universe in motion never runs out.
This isn't just another gadget promising to shave a few bucks off your electric bill. This is a system that claims to make the electric grid itself optional. Imagine a box that powers your house, office, or even a factory without fuel, noise, and pollution. It sounds like science fiction, but it's the bold promise behind the Hulcom Energy System. While the world races to build wind turbines and solar farms, a quiet invention in the US aims to leapfrog them all. No wires, no spinning blades, just clean, constant electricity. So what is this thing? And can it change everything? The Doctor Who wanted to heal the planet. Dr. Robert Hull didn't start as an energy expert. He was a urologist, a medical doctor who saved lives in hospitals, not labs. But over time, he began noticing something that went beyond any diagnosis. The air his patients breathed, the environment they lived in, the heat waves and pollution. They weren't just side issues. They were health emergencies. Fossil fuels, he believed, weren't just warming the planet. They were killing people. That's when medicine became a mission. Rather than writing papers or lobbying governments, he locked himself away and started inventing. It wasn't his first time. Hull had already racked up hundreds of patents across different fields. But this idea? It was different. He wanted to create a power system that didn't just reduce emissions, but remove them altogether. No fuels, no engines, no dependence on grids, just a silent machine that could power a building, or maybe even the world. 12 years later, he stepped out with something extraordinary. In his facility, a strange, quiet device was doing something that shouldn't be possible. It powered everything, including air conditioners, lights, and machines, without pulling a single watt from the outside world. The birth of a silent powerhouse. Inside a modest lab tucked away from public attention, something was humming, not in sound, but in significance. The machine Dr. Hull built didn't roar or spin or vibrate. It didn't make a sound at all. That was part of its magic. No moving parts, no combustion, no heat trails, just a compact unit delivering power quietly, continuously. Hull called it the HES, short for Hulcom Energy System. To the untrained eye, it looked like an industrial cabinet. But inside, it was unlike anything in the energy world. Using a precise dance of permanent magnets and electromagnetic coils, it created a loop of energy that regenerated itself. There was no outside power source, no fuel input, and yet electricity kept flowing. This wasn't just backup power. This was a full-scale, off-the-grid operation. Air conditioners blew cold, the lights stayed bright, computers ran without flickering. And it wasn't just lab equipment, it powered the entire 12,000-square-foot building. The silence was its statement. No churning engines, no fuel trucks, no utility bills. For Dr. Hull, it was proof, a whisper of what the future could sound like. A quiet, clean hum of endless power, born not from burning, but from balance. How it works, or so it claims. The EEG, the electromagnetic energy generator, is at the center of the HES system. It doesn't run on coal or gas, and there's no solar panel in sight. Instead, it taps into the forces of magnetism and induction. Hull's idea was simple on paper, but nearly impossible to engineer. Arrange magnets and coils so that the system powers itself while generating enough extra electricity to feed an external load. In theory, the EEG manipulates magnetic flux in a closed-loop system. Positioning permanent magnets and wire coils in a finely tuned layout creates a continuous push and pull, like a tide that never stops. This motionless interaction somehow generates a steady electric current. There's no need for wind, sunlight, or spinning turbines. It sounds like science bending at its edges. And maybe it is. Mainstream scientists have doubts, especially about the thermodynamic rules this system defies. But the prototype sits there, humming quietly, keeping the lights on. To believers, it's the dawn of a new age. To skeptics, it's a puzzle wrapped in patents and claims. But one thing's clear: the EEG doesn't look like anything we've seen. Beyond fuel, the promise of true independence. Picture a home that never loses power, a factory that doesn't need a grid, a world where every building has its energy source. That's the vision behind the Hulcom Energy System, a future where electricity isn't distributed from faraway plants, but created right at the source. No wires, no fuel, no emissions, just a quiet, self-sustaining device providing power on demand. For people in remote villages, this could mean energy access without billions spent on infrastructure. For families, it's freedom from unpredictable bills and blackouts. And for industries, it's an edge, consistent, clean, and cheaper power over time. The HS isn't just about being green. It's about control. You don't wait for power, you own it. And with no moving parts and low maintenance, it doesn't just promise independence. It promises simplicity. It's bold, maybe even unbelievable. But if real, this technology doesn't just offer a better energy solution. It rewrites the rules of how energy reaches us, magnifying power, the other tools in HES's arsenal. HES isn't just a single device, it's a system of innovations. One component, the inline power generator, doesn't create power from nothing, but takes energy from any source, solar, wind, or hydro, and boosts its output. Think of it as an amplifier, multiplying what it receives. Then there's the phase converter. Many industrial machines need three-phase power, something not always available. This converter changes ordinary power into high-grade, industrial-strength energy. It's a bridge between simple setups and complex demands. Together, these tools show HES isn't trying to replace the grid, it's reimagining it. Instead of forcing everyone to adopt one device, it's building a toolbox for all energy scenarios. It's a shift in thinking. You don't just generate power, you shape it, expand it, and adapt it to your needs. Behind that vision is a belief that electricity shouldn't be limited by infrastructure. It should be as flexible and limitless as the imagination powering it. Breaking into the real world. To prove the HES system wasn't just lab magic, Hulcom took it into the real world. They began public demos and live tests in which the unit powered entire buildings without any external connection. There were no generators, no wires, just the device, running in silence. People watched as lights stayed on, screens glowed, and air conditioning hummed, all off-grid. But demonstrations weren't enough. So HES launched pilot projects, homes in remote areas, small businesses, and warehouses. Each install tested different stress points, heat, cold, and continuous load. And each time, the device kept running. These real-world deployments weren't just about showing off. They were about gathering feedback, what worked, what didn't, and what needed to be better. It's one thing to succeed in a lab, it's another to power a home for months without failure. Bit by bit, the device proved it could work not just in theory, but in the spaces where people live, work, and dream of a future free from fuel and fear. A future wired differently. HS isn't just offering a cleaner energy source, but a new way to think about energy itself. Today, power comes from massive stations, travels through long wires, and depends on aging infrastructure. But what if every home, school, or shop had its power center? That's the world Hulcom imagines. Electricity generated exactly where it's used, with no grid dependency and no distant outages causing local blackouts. Energy becomes personal, autonomous, resilient, and clean. For developing regions, this means light without infrastructure. For cities, it means energy without strain. Even electric vehicles could tap into onboard generation, further extending range and independence. The idea is revolutionary. But it's not just about devices, it's about control, about letting people decide where their energy comes from. A world wired this way wouldn't just be more sustainable, it would also be more secure. In an era of rising costs, cyber risks, and climate disruption, that vision feels less like a dream and more like a necessity. The skepticism, the scrutiny, and the stakes. With claims this big, doubt is inevitable. Scientists have challenged HES, asking how it can create power without input. Doesn't that break basic physics? And where's the independent testing? Hulcom expected this. That's why they opened their doors, partnered with researchers, and launched peer collaborations. The goal is to get real scrutiny, not just marketing praise. Critics say any device defying thermodynamics needs extraordinary proof, and they're right. But even with questions in the air, interest is rising. Investors, clean tech advocates, agencies, everyone's watching closely. Because if the HES works, even partially, it changes everything. The hurdles remain: mass production, regulation, and durability. But Hulcom keeps building, testing, and showing. What matters now is transparency and time. The world isn't just hungry for cleaner power, it's desperate. And in that desperation, a silent machine quietly running in the background may offer more than electricity. It may offer hope. This isn't just a story about a machine, it's about a possibility. A quiet hum in a lab that might one day power cities, cars, and lives. The Hulcom Energy System dares to imagine a world without pollution, fuel dependency, and limits. Only time and proof will tell whether it becomes the future or fades into the shadows of ambitious invention. But in a world desperate for answers, one self-sustaining device might just hold the key. If it's real, it changes everything. And if it isn't, it still reminds us to keep reaching, because the future of power is worth chasing.